Can you undo that strap there, beautiful? That's what I'm talking about.
So it was midsummer and the gardens were fruiting. The July rain kept the earth damp and most of the outdoor plants responded well. And when we weren't at the cabin, we were spending long days at the office as my summer merchandise arrived and I continued honing in on sourdough baking. I'd take breaks from the computer to make bread and pizza dough and do my best to memorize the process.
Tools are everything. 150 grams of starter.
And also pick away at new tunes that had been brewing in the back of my mind.
When I hide in the hemlock down by the river, I crave the big wide open. When I roam America in my big black car, I dream of the pines. Ooh, why wouldn't it be?
And we spent some good sunrises driving around our little town as I collected shots for a local video project.
When I hide in the hemlock down by the river, I crave big fire.
And by the end of July, we started making great strides towards finishing the outside of the cabin. It was mostly trim work left before the cedar shakes, but there was a lot more than I could have realized. And so every step was taking longer than planned, and the all in good time motto was keeping me sane. This entire cabin project has been a test of patience, persistence, planning, and dedication. And though due to my current stage in life, it has only inched along, I know that's exactly how it was meant to be.
I missed the part where you showed me how to turn it on.
A younger me would have hired out every bit of work and rushed and rushed and rushed to have it finished and get right to the enjoyment stage. But as I've gotten older and dedicated more time to learning how to build rather than just getting it done, I've become much more attached to the process and the project as a whole, and realized that these days spent building down by the river with my best friends are once in a lifetime and not meant to be rushed. Life can be really comical. Society tricks us into craving productivity, and our brains are trained to think that if we're not completing things, we're wasting time. And while productivity and completion are extremely valuable in their own ways, it's the process itself in which we earn our wisdom. So no matter the pace you go, what's important is how present you are in those moments and how well you're able to retain and digest what's happening. And so on one day in particular, we finished about 80% of the trim, and it was fun to catch a groove and deeply tune into the process, as it truly is meditative work.
I'm not getting sand in my eyes again. I'm gonna have to go left-handed on this one. It's pretty tight up there. What did you say?
Yeah.
Looks better than on this stuff. That's so cool.
Oh, we did a lot today. We did the whole shed perfect.
Aaron says this is a nice paint job.
And after long days of solid work, we'd drive the Golden Road home to make dinner. And as we did our best to keep our zucchini and pepper bounties at bay, a few more summer evenings with the gang were planned.
I love Pup with a canoe loaded on it.
Look at how
His stance is great.
it's Pup.
It's a good way to treat anything. Yeah.
So what, we're waiting for Miranda?
I guess. So they have no Jack with the fit. July shirt.
Well, what do you know? Which way?
And as the rover continued with its typical problems, I ordered some new tools to help me do the work myself, so I could learn new things and save money from the shop. And after well over a year of the van being in the shop, it was nearly done and ready to have the inside fully rebuilt from scratch.
Yeah.
And Allie and I kept chipping away at the tough cabin tasks like digging out the trees from the driveway and using the leftover materials in other little projects around the property. And every day when we'd head home, we'd drive into the hazy sun, as westward wildfire smoke had drifted to our hills and made for some hauntingly beautiful evenings.
Feels fake.
What did it get? Or what it did last time, or just the sun?
And so one night I took a sudden left up the steep old street.
Come on, we gotta move quick.
And we ran up through the wildflowers to the top of the earth. watched the pink dot drop behind the hills in real time. The first time we had the chance since winter. And with the local CSA going, we were eating more vegetables than ever. And it was always a nice break from the computer to go pick up our bounty on the edge of town.
So pea picking. Is it these ones? Some of the ones with like bumps on it. Taste it. I don't know. I thought they taste more like dirt when they get dirty.
And Jack's property was coming along too.
Right now, we all
Go
just
for it.
huck
Just
those
huck 'em.
into him.
Huck 'em.
Which
Let's
ones?
just make this a nice defined corner with this pile of rocks.
As the garden the boys made for Prem was starting to bloom as well.
The other day, the basil's going pretty good.
Yup.
There's a whole bunch of different kinds.
Did you see we have a sunflower?
And it was exciting to come into the office every day and see all the new growth in our gardens. Whether it was flowers, veggies, or fruit, something new was always growing.
Can't get it?
And in order to use up some coupons I had at a local nursery, we spent a few days planting a ton of new stuff at the cabin.
Looks like a snowstorm.
As much as I want to spend all our time on the structure, the more we can get planted now, the more established it will be by the time that we're waking up here and spending all our days working on the land. A lot of these plants will take years to grow and fill in and bloom, so the earlier we get them going, the better. Some of my favorite projects so far have been making a few small stone walls to hold plants. It's fun working with the rocks you have lying around, letting go of perfection, and finding a way to make it work.
I love how it's just got all the dirt in it.
Great.
And we We put some drainage in and kept the driveway tidy after some record-breaking rainstorms. And since the driveway survived this past July, I'm confident there's no weather it can't handle. Some rainstorms gave us inches upon inches in less than 30 minutes. I really have never seen anything like it in all my life. And so one of the things I wanted to establish early on was more rhododendrons. They always make me think of lakeside camps, and since I've been around the ones at my parents' house my whole life, they remind me of home and give me a warm feeling. And we also used one of the more sunny spots to start a little herb and flower garden. Our goal is to turn this whole embankment into a garden next year. And we also planted more shrubs on the other side of the driveway to help build up a natural barrier from the road.
Yeah.
And we added some dashes of color and fragrance here and there too.
First get plants.
But my favorite little project to date was transforming the south face of the cabin into beautiful stone gardens with more rhododendrons. A vision I had had since I first laid eyes on this property many years ago.
Wow. It looks so good.
This was one of the most simple and rewarding days of the summer, as it completely changed the look and feel of the cabin. And when we got home that night, a new part for the rover had arrived. It had started making an awful noise after Hunter visited in early July, and I hadn't driven it much, So by process of elimination, I was replacing a few components I knew were either bad or going bad soon, and after replacing an idler pulley, it was clear the problem remained. But rather than send it off to a shop, I was determined to figure it out for myself.
The fan is too far forward. It's hitting. Is it? Oh, I bet you it's. I bet you it's the main pulley, which is moving when I wiggle the fan. Which
no.
is. I didn't realize that the fan was attached to that. So that right there is the issue, and all I have to do is look up. I mean, it's going to be a little bit of pain in the ass because I'm going to have to get the radiator out. I'm going to have to drain the coolant and move the fan and all that. But that's definitely it. Let me just start up one more time.
And it was around this time that the truck started having hiccups, which ultimately led to us being stranded one day at Home Depot with a full load of accoutrements for the cabin.
Not really.
And though some guys who stopped by lent a hand, it wasn't until Mason showed up that we figured out the true problem. We did a bunch of testing and learned that it was a small module in the distributor that was keeping us from getting spark. So we fixed that, and then began the chipping days. I wanted to kill two birds with one stone and clean up a bunch of the old brush and logs around the property while also making fresh mulch for all the gardens. It would make all the edges of the driveway look better and also help retain moisture and provide nutrients to all the plants. Think of how many more things we can plant all in here.
I know, it reminds me of my parents' front yard where they did the mulch section.
Yep. Seriously. And it was fun watching all the different colors of mulch come from different pieces of wood. Some were so old and broken down they were basically compost already, and others were more fresh and bright. But overall, it felt very wholesome and full circle to make mulch with the dead wood from the land, and it's something I want to continue to freshen up every year in the cabin gardens. And we ended up clogging the chipper on the first day and spent the rest of the day spreading the mulch we made before coming back the next day to finish the job. But man, was it looking good. It breathed a whole new life into the property. 2 long days of lugging brush and logs and barrels of chips and pushing and spreading and ultimately changing things right before our eyes. It was surreal to see areas that used to be rocks and dirt turned into a yard and beautiful gardens. And then, to avoid being stranded in Old Blue again, I replaced the alternator, which seemed to be the main culprit of some recent troubles. And it was fun and satisfying getting to do these projects myself. But if it weren't for all my friends have taught me, I wouldn't even know where to start.
Okay, will this work?
Fingers crossed.
Yes! No alternator light. We're good, baby. Let's just make sure the belt is,
Lose you? This one's so good.
And there were a few random pull-offs that felt like summer in a jar. Goldenrod meadows, pastel mountains, moments that always seem to find you rather than the other way around.
Do you want to see one that I took? No.
And I made some exclusive behind-the-scenes videos for my Patreons, one of which included a day where I took my old Honda scooter for its first ride in a few years. At some point today, I gotta come back here and do some care packages for all the new patrons. I bought it back in 2017 when my career in content creation was first starting, but I didn't ride it much after that fall. It always reminds me of those early days when I had so few responsibilities and things to take care of. I was as free as I would ever be, and I didn't even know it.
Alright, so it looks like these wires are going to fit best into these, the blue ones. And it should light up when I turn the lights on, so.
And after that, I replaced the taillights on Old Blue, which had been failing, and installed my red metal box in preparation for fall adventures. And then the next day, we took a much-needed escape to a cabin in New Hampshire to relax and swim, and above all, spend time hiking in the mountains, something we hadn't had time for much since last winter. It was a beautiful trip, and I can't wait to share it with you in another video.
What's going on?
What up? Wow, it's like a dark...
I was wondering what the noise was.
And so just as summer started to taper down, a few of us got together to hit the local fair. And after a quick dip in the river, we arrived at dusk, and all the sights, smells, and sounds of late summer carnival stimulated the senses and woke that old childhood nostalgia.
I'm sure he's floating around, drifting somewhere.
Which way do we go?
And we trudged up the hill toward the Friday night demolition derby as the motors roared and the air smelled of gasoline and fried dough.
Right up your alley.
Nathan Woodridge out of Plainfield, Massachusetts. We got a lot of family members out here tonight. The Woodridge family out of Plainfield, the Torrance family out of Westfield.
And up on that hillside, nothing else mattered. Things felt like they always used to.
Three chances to ring that center bell. You ring that bell one time, you get your prize on that. Don't ring that bell. Winner, winner, winner.
Yeah, honestly, it's wicked fun. Yeah.
And that was summer for the most part. Cabin days, office days, rain, gardens, rivers, motors, fairs, rain, home-cooked dinners, sunsets, wildflowers, pizza nights, rain, sourdough bread, rope swings, mountains, zucchini, and rain. And because of the rain, I didn't really get to fish at all, which was a bummer. But the reality was, I probably wouldn't have had time anyway. And as much as I crave free time, I'm at a stage in my life where I have to hunker down and keep working hard. I got debts to pay, things to build, and situations in my life that need rearranging. And in order to do all that, I need resources. But what I've learned is that life comes in cycles and phases, and that hard, focused work always yields a reward. So I'll stick to this working phase with my head down and do what I know in my heart needs to be done. I'll stay the course and stay patient, and someday in the future, I'll have all the time in the world to go fishing.